you ever wondered what would happen if the most terrifying monsters in humanity faced off in a battle? A battle of fire and blood, an ancient vendetta rising from the very bowels of the earth, destined only to cause chaos and destruction along with the end of all humanity. But fear not, I will tell you everything you need to know before it really happens. For a long time, legends of monsters and gigantic creatures have haunted humanity. But is it all true? Are they real, or just myths? The ancients said that every story has a beginning, that every legend has its origin. Perhaps, then, all those legends aren't entirely lies, but fleeting memories of a forgotten past, long abandoned by the tides of time. Some speak of two ancient beasts rising from the same abyss, one destined to protect, and the other to destroy and annihilate. Their names are Godzilla and Destoroyah, two alpha titans with such colossal power that they have never been able to defeat each other. Now, guided by destiny itself, they are destined to fight a battle in which only one will survive. We know that Godzilla, the king of monsters, has faced terrifying enemies throughout his history. From King Ghidorah, the three-headed dragon, to Mechagodzilla, a mechanized version of himself, Godzilla has emerged victorious in every battle. However, there is one enemy that stands out among them all, a rival that represents the true threat to the king. That rival is Destoroyah. If you thought Godzilla was invincible, today I will tell you exactly why Destoroyah might be the only monster with the real ability to defeat him, and I'm not exaggerating. Now, I will tell you everything you need to know. Get ready. Destoroyah is a unique creature, the result of a failed experiment with the oxygen destroyer, a weapon originally developed to destroy Godzilla in the 1954 events. This monster is the very embodiment of destruction, capable of evolving and adapting to its environment in a way no other kaiju has. To understand how dangerous it is, we first need to know what makes it so different from Godzilla's other enemies. Unlike King Ghidorah or Mechagodzilla, who mainly rely on their brute strength or advanced technology, Destoroyah has the ability to absorb energy and mutate, growing stronger with every battle it faces. This is comparable to how a person could improve their results every time they fail at something, and instead of stagnating, they become more competent with every mistake. Can you imagine that after every failure in your life, you became stronger and better? That's Destoroyah. This monster can not only regenerate constantly, but it can also break down molecules at an atomic level, making it a true danger to Godzilla, who, although resistant, cannot avoid being affected by this destructive power. If we think of an everyday example, it's like training in the gym. You may be very strong, but if your body doesn't recover and adapt properly, no matter how many weights you lift, eventually you will wear out. And I know what you're thinking. Can Destoroyah really defeat Godzilla? For many, this may sound heretical, but the truth is that Godzilla is not invulnerable. Despite his legendary resilience and strength, even he has weaknesses. This truth is hard for the most loyal fans to accept, but when we analyze Godzilla's biology, we find that his Achilles heel is exactly what Destoroyah can exploit best. Many will say that Godzilla always finds a way to win, but here, I'm going to explain why. With Destoroyah, things are different. We're not talking about an ordinary enemy. Destoroyah is the personification of molecular destruction, and that completely changes the game. Let me explain why this is so important, and how it could redefine everything we know about Godzilla. One of the most important reasons Destoroyah has the ability to defeat Godzilla is his origin. As I mentioned earlier, Destoroyah was born from the experiments with the oxygen destroyer, a weapon created to eliminate Godzilla by depriving him of oxygen. This same technology allowed Destoroyah to evolve to a power level that surpasses even the king of monsters. To give you a clear example, imagine an athlete who has trained his entire life for a competition. He's strong, agile, and virtually unbeatable in his discipline. But suddenly, another athlete shows up who has developed a secret new technique that makes him superior. No matter how much experience the first athlete has, if he can't counter this new technique, he will be defeated. In the case of Godzilla and Destoroyah, that new technique is Destoroyah's ability to manipulate the oxygen around him, allowing him to break down the very atmosphere in which Godzilla survives. Another interesting aspect is Destoroyah's ability to mutate during battle. Throughout his fight with Godzilla, Destoroyah becomes stronger, faster, and more lethal. This is something few other kaiju have been able to do. In fact, most of Godzilla's enemies are defeated when he finds their weak point, but in the case of Destoroyah, there is no apparent weak point, as he continues to evolve. Now, this is one of the craziest things you're going to hear, but here's why it will work. While Godzilla relies heavily on his environment to recharge and heal, Destoroyah has the ability to destroy that very environment, leaving Godzilla without his power source. Imagine the situation. You're running a marathon, and even though you're the strongest runner, if someone takes away your access to water and food, sooner or later, you will run out of energy. That's exactly what happens in this battle. Godzilla may be a force of nature, but without the energy he draws from his environment, even the king of monsters can weaken. Destoroyah, on the other hand, is not only capable of destroying the environment, but can manipulate energy at a level that no other kaiju has demonstrated before, in each of its evolutionary forms. From its larval state to its imposing final form, Destoroyah only becomes more powerful. This means that the longer the fight goes on, the stronger Destoroyah becomes, while Godzilla faces exhaustion. It's not simply a matter of physical endurance. It's an evolutionary advantage that puts Destoroyah in a unique position to defeat Godzilla. Imagine this. Every time Godzilla attempts to unleash his devastating atomic ray, Destoroyah absorbs it, feeding off that energy, mutating and strengthening its already impressive destructive power. For Godzilla, what would normally be an advantage becomes his downfall. The damage that would normally wear down any other enemy, in Destoroyah's case, only serves to make it more dangerous. It's a terrifying paradox. The more Godzilla fights, the stronger he makes his enemy. This is where the true danger for Godzilla lies. No matter how many powerful blows he lands at first, if the battle drags on, Destoroyah will have the upper hand. While Godzilla weakens because he cannot recharge from the surrounding energy, Destoroyah keeps regenerating, absorbing and enhancing its own arsenal. This kind of evolutionary advantage, this constant adaptation, is what makes it the only kaiju that can exploit Godzilla's weaknesses. It's as if Destoroyah was designed to defeat the king of monsters. The impact of this ability goes beyond mere physical combat. Destoroyah's ability to control the environment, neutralize Godzilla's advantages, and strengthen itself with every exchange, makes any confrontation between them not just a matter of raw strength, but a battle of survival where time plays in Destoroyah's favor. It's interesting, but if we look at the statistics of Godzilla's previous battles, we find a surprising pattern. Only 2 out of every 10 enemies have managed to inflict truly significant damage on him. Over decades of confrontations, Godzilla has been nearly invincible, defeating creatures of all sizes, shapes, and abilities. However, there's something many fans forget or prefer not to admit. Destoroyah is not an ordinary enemy. In his confrontation in Godzilla vs. Destoroyah, the king of monsters was pushed to his limits, brought to the brink of death, and, had it not been for certain external factors, Destoroyah would have achieved what no other kaiju could: completely destroy Godzilla. Now imagine this scenario. No allies, no divine intervention, no escape plan, just Godzilla and Destoroyah in a final, decisive battle. What are Godzilla's chances of coming out victorious? The truth is, as hard as it may be for some to accept, the scale in that final battle tilted far more toward Destoroyah than it seems. Godzilla was closer to losing in that fight than in any other of his history. And this is where a key factor that many overlook comes into play. Destoroyah has a biological and strategic advantage that makes him one of the deadliest threats to Godzilla. Destoroyah is not just a brute force. His ability to break down and regenerate from the destructive oxygen, the same weapon that killed the first Godzilla, makes him an enemy that challenges the conventional rules of kaiju combat. Every time Godzilla strikes him, Destoroyah gets stronger. Unlike other opponents who weaken from Godzilla's attacks, Destoroyah can adapt and evolve. This gives him a unique biological advantage that puts him one step ahead of any other monster Godzilla has faced. What many fans don't want to admit is that Destoroyah is more than just a strong monster. He's the embodiment of the very technology that almost destroyed Godzilla in the past. This historical connection between them makes Destoroyah more dangerous than any other rival. He is the materialization of Godzilla's vulnerability, a creature born from the very energy that once was his doom. Had that battle continued without external interference, it's possible we would be talking today not about the king of monsters, but his definitive fall. So, what is left for us to understand about this confrontation? Simply this. If we ever see a final battle between Godzilla and Destoroyah, it won't be a common, ordinary fight. It will be a battle where evolution, biology, and strategy combine in a brutal, relentless way. Godzilla, the king of monsters, may be an unstoppable force, but even kings have Achilles' heels. And Destoroyah is the embodiment of that weak spot, a creature born from the same power that once almost destroyed Godzilla. The destructive oxygen. Imagine the outcome. An endless battle, with Destoroyah adapting to every blow, quickly regenerating, its cells evolving with each attack it receives. Its ability to mutate and continuously improve makes it a threat that Godzilla cannot destroy with brute force. Every atomic ray Godzilla fires, every titanic blow, only fuels Destoroyah's ferocity. Meanwhile, Godzilla, although incredibly powerful, begins to show signs of wear. His energy is not infinite, and Destoroyah's constant regeneration is physically and mentally exhausting him. The fight is not just physical, it's a battle of endurance. Godzilla is used to being the ultimate predator, but now he's facing an enemy that not only challenges his reign, but also slowly destroys him from the inside. As Destoroyah continues to recover from each attack, the desperate Godzilla begins to succumb to his own exhaustion. The king of monsters faces more than strength or size. He faces an unstoppable evolution, a creature designed to be his doom. This kind of confrontation is what fans have been waiting for years. It's not just a clash of titans. It's a battle between the unstoppable nature of Godzilla and the relentless evolution of Destoroyah. And when the climax finally arrives, when we see these two colossuses face off in a battle that defies the limits of survival itself, it won't just be another scene in Kaiju history. It will be a defining moment, one of the most shocking and unforgettable fights in cinematic history, where not only strength, but intelligence and biology will decide Godzilla's ultimate fate. Imagine how the world would change if this final battle occurred. Not only would it mark the end of Godzilla's reign, but it would redefine everything we know about the Kaiju universe. Destoroyah, by defeating the king of monsters, would become the new unstoppable force. The ultimate threat that would put humanity in check. The terror of knowing that there is no longer a protector would be overwhelming. But beyond the rubble, Godzilla's legacy wouldn't disappear. Though fallen, his fight against Destoroyah would prove that even the greatest kings can be challenged. Humans would face a new era of uncertainty, wondering if another defender of Earth could ever rise. Or did the cycle of destruction simply begin with Godzilla's fall? This confrontation wouldn't just be a fight for survival. It would be the moment that defines the future of the planet and the role of kaijus in it. Would Destoroyah return to threaten Earth, or would it stay as the new undisputed king? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. This battle would forever change the way we see the balance of power between giant monsters. Now that you know more about this epic battle between Godzilla and Destoroyah, I want you to leave your opinion in the comments. Do you think Godzilla could really defeat Destoroyah in a rematch? If you want to see more content like this, make sure to subscribe, turn on the bell, and like the video. Don't miss it.